Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we have a VHT52 by RCA, otherwise known as the Annapolis. It's from 1968. This one is actually out of my personal collection, which I've decided to move on. And what we're going to do is we're just going to tell you quickly or concisely how to restore this part right here. This is, I believe, a Mark III. There was three versions of this. We did the Mark II, but we haven't talked about this guy, which is a lot more compact amplifier and tuner. So we're going to take this guy out, and we've seen these in many RCAs of that era. They used them in pretty much everything. We've done the turntable before on previous videos, so we're not going to bother with that. But yeah, we'll do a little restoration on that guy. Even though, like I said, it's from my personal collection, that was done. This was never done. It just sounded awesome. I never got around to recapping it. But we're going to do it now because I'm going to move this on and I want it to be perfect. All right, stay tuned. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is pull off these knobs. As you can see, many years of being there, put them somewhere safe. And that guy and the tuning guy, very easy and gently, he says, and we're off. Okay, now you got to pop this guy off. You should be able to get your fingers underneath there. It's basically a push fit. Let's see if I can do it without breaking anything. All right, good. There's one side. Just gently pull up. This is really hard doing this with. Aha! And there she is. Let me put that down safely. Okay. The next thing is these screws, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to take those screws out and then we're going to jump to the back side. Okay, we got the cover removed. There's our tuner amp section. We've talked about those guys, those big, beautiful ellipticals. I think they're 15 by 8s or 6s. But anyway, we've talked about those and crossover caps. They'll get changed. But right now, you need to do release all the connections. We've got the speaker connections here. We've got power. We'll talk about that guy later. That's the power supply. It's nice that it's separate. And you're gonna have to undo the tape input. We'll use that for Bluetooth later. But undo that because that's actually hardwired in. But right that's the record input. And then there's power and record power here. So undo all those. Take photographs and all that good stuff, or mark it however you need to, but those have got to come off. And heed this warning. That has got to be disconnected, because if you pull this out with that connected, it'll tear it apart. And also, when you take these off, do it two-handed, because that's a very delicate connection, and these have been known to snap off. So spray it with some contact cleaner and pull off with two hands gently. All right. Okay, with everything disconnected, there's the FM antenna right there. And as you notice, with what is attached to the amp tuner, I used a rubber band because I guaranteed you, when you pull this out, that will get hung up. So now it's ready to get pulled. Okay, so you got those cables sorted out, and now if you just put your hand right here, not all the way in, but just right there, you can literally lift, he says, and you're out. Okay, the power supply. First thing you want to do, obviously we did those guys off to get the tuner amp, that's the cabinet light and the phono light. There's a cabinet light, and the other one goes up into the record well. Next thing is you've got to take these pal nuts off. There's this one, and there's one on the back side down there, but doesn't have to come all the way off, just has to be loosened. So we'll stick this guy on. Take that off, and basically off it comes. Okay, we've got our stuff on the bench. There's our power supply. We'll talk about that later when we start doing caps and what have you. We'll do that later, but let's talk about this guy. So this is two sections. You've got a tuner section and an amp section, and if you're looking at it, you're kind of like, well, how do I get in there to get all those caps out? You know what I'm saying? Is that in focus? Yeah. So it's kind of a clamshell design. This thing will open up, and we're going to undo these guys, and same right there, and on the opposite. They got rubber bushings to cushion themselves, so there's no friction. But yeah, so we're going to go overhead, and I'll start undoing those and show you how this basically opens up. Okay, so we took those bolt screws out there, but first of all, let's take this guy off very gently. These have been known to break around here very easily, so be very gentle with the selector indicator there. Put that somewhere safe. Like I said, I already undid the bolts, as you can see. As you can also see here that these guys, they're all perished. I'll show the old ones later, but I'm going to replace those with, these are used platter bushings, rubber bushings, mounts, grommets, from the Zenith Pro. These are used ones. I saved them and put brand new ones in, but these are still perfect for something like that, which is completely disintegrated, because there's no real wear going on, it's just age. But anyway, so, but you can also get those brand new from Gary at The Voice of Music. All right, so we've done that, we've got that open, and now if I remember, these will be sticky sometimes, they stick to the metal. We gently, you kind of got to wiggle it. It's been a while, but you kind of got to wiggle it that way and out, and there you go. Like I said, it's kind of a clamshell design. It's attached by this cable, but now you can just pretty much lie that there, and you're free to work on the caps. You can put this on the other way while you get to the, like this, where you get to the solder, and recap it, clean all your pots out, change the bulbs, and all that great stuff. The bit of cleaning here on the dial indicator backlight, diffuser. But yeah, that's basically it on how to get it open. We've talked about caps before, so there's no need to watch me do that, because there's plenty of people out there who've talked about replacing caps. So anyway, I'm going to get busy on this, and then I'll show you when it's finished. Okay, she's all done. Got new caps in there, did all the necessary checks, cleaned the pots, put new bulbs in there, number 159 GEs, and replaced those bad perished isolation bushings there, I guess you call them. Yeah, she's good to go. We'll now move on to the power supply. Okay, the power supply. Pretty simple. You got a couple of really big caps in there, and then you've got that one down there. We'll replace that one with that guy and do the splits. But these here 1500 UF 50 volts, these are 35, but those are in stock, so why not? So we're going to replace those, but be really careful of the polarity, because it is reversed on this one, I believe. Normally for solid state stuff, everything's positive, grounded. Well, for some reason they decided to split two of the output transistors, and I believe it is to help with crossover distortion, from what I found out. So be really careful. These are not wired the same. As you can see right there, negative is triangle. So right there, and then is positively grounded on that guy. So make sure you do your due diligence and take notes and make sure you wire them correctly. Otherwise, there will be smoke. Okay, we're all done. We've got the new caps in there. As you can see, I used these snips and snipped off the old connectors there, the spade ends, I guess you call them, and left them intact with the old wiring. So you could just loop these through and solder them in situ. Then obviously these clamps were way too big, so a couple of zip ties and some hot glue to secure them. There you go. All right. Okay, Bluetooth. I'm going to show you how I Bluetooth my consoles. And because this guy has a tape input, we're going to use that to plug in our Bluetooth unit. Now, I get these from Amazon. They're pretty inexpensive, and I've used them for years with no problems whatsoever. Of course, they're made in China. But in the kit, you get your Bluetooth module. It's a receiver and transmitter, power cable, and your RCA to 3.5 millimeter audio jack, which will go in there, power and audio. You do have to get yourself an iPhone charger, you know, the little charger. You can get these from Amazon as well in multiples of 10. And then another trick is what's called the adder tap. You can get these from wholesale electrical supplies. They're basically crimp onto the existing cable, as you can see right there. You crimp it on and it locks into place. Don't do it when it's plugged in. But these are great because then you plug this guy, if I can do this one-handed, you plug this guy in, the USB power cable, and then you thread the whole thing through the back here, and I'll show you when it's finished. Now you have your Bluetooth, but it's self-powered. There's no additional cable, so it taps off, and it's so low voltage. So yeah, so I'll do that, show you that when it's finished. Obviously, we'll go through into our RCA jacks, which are input, which RCA, the company, has very nicely provided. If you have enough cable, you can stretch it all the way along here. If you don't, what times I just mount it here sometimes, this unit, I just hard mount it. So there you go. That's the Bluetooth. I'll show you when it's in. All right, so we've got the Bluetooth in, as you can see here. Mounted at the rear, flashing away. It's paired with the internet right now, my iPad, it's a local radio station. But yeah, that's how easy the Bluetooth is. So it's all done. Sorry it was a short one on this guy, but I've done it all before on other models. So the only difference really was this guy amplifier tuner. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll definitely do it again.